Welcome. My name is Matt. This misty scenario is Hidden Light, and today we're back, finally, making platinum prints. It's been a while. We have a new client we're working with today, whose name is Rox. Rox with 2 X's, and she's got this incredible image. I believe that she's a tattoo artist, and she's got this totally banging, really cool image of one of her clients, I assume. And so we're going to test at 11 by 14, make sure we know what we're doing today. It's been a while. And then we're gonna do a couple of those because she actually wants 10 at 11 by 14, and then we'll do one larger print, like 20 by 30. We are aiming at high contrast today, which is not something that Platinum Palladium excels at. We're also aiming for a neutral tone, which, I mean, within the limits of the process, you can achieve a neutral. So we are going to reference back, we're going to think back and meditate on our experiments with pushing contrast into platinum, which we did with a series of images of mine of some motorcyclists. So we're going to go reference that video. If you haven't seen it, watch it. I can never remember which corner it is. And then we'll take that recipe, which I believe is Na2, and my guess is going to be like 1 drop of Na2 per 8 by 10 sized amount of chemistry. Scale that up to 11 by 14. Test. We're going to use Fresh Developer every time for this, which, while it is expensive, is the best way for us to guarantee snap. And see where we go. Basically, the goal here is to not blow any highlights and keep a good separation between the highlights and the blacks. Like, it's not a high contrast process, so we're gonna ask it to be as high contrast as it's willing to be. I've forced a little bit of contrast into the file already. I have my negative, which is about as punchy as I can make it. So basically, we're off to the races. We'll start this size and then go bigger. Join us. Okay, so my reference video to my old self was 2 drops of Na2 per 10 drops of emulsion. So we're gonna mix up sort of an egregious amount of emulsion after we let this paper sit for another 15 minutes, because I really want this shit to come to humidity. And we are only, we're getting there. We're at 55%, but we haven't been there for very long. So we're gonna mix up our emulsion and do all that. We'll just let this paper like chill, and I'm gonna have a snack. Set. That looks crazy. She's gonna love this. Okay, that looks exactly the way we want that to look. So I'm going to continue making those while I print the large negative, and whenever it's done, we'll do it. And just make like 10 or 12 more of these things, just to give me a little bit of wiggle. So, down the rabbit hole. Okay, we're ready to go big. Not many people print bigger than, say, 16 by 20. So one of the questions I get reasonably often is, what changes as you go up in size in platinum palladium printmaking? Well, obviously, you're using more emulsion. Sheet of paper's got to be bigger, right? That's kind of a no-brainer. Going along with that, your tray has to be a fair bit larger, right? Because you want to develop it flat, evenly, quickly. You're also going to be using way more chemistry. So we're going to use more developer, more clearing bath. This sheet of paper is drastically oversized for the print that we're about to make, which gives me a lot of room in handling. And then I'm going to use a little more chemistry than I would necessarily think that I need, just so that I make sure I get a really good coat. The paper's been at humidity for several hours now, so I'm not super worried about that. So all we really got to do is trim out the negative, mark out our corners, and go bigger. The process is the same, but because it's so much bigger, it wants to dry faster. Because it's so much bigger, if you screw up a brush stroke, you can see it more. The continuous tone areas, instead of being like little itty bitty strips, are like huge sections. So everything that can go wrong does go wrong, and everything that goes wrong is more visible. So let me just grab this negative, we'll trim it out real quick and mark everything out, mix our emulsion, switch all of our chemistry to larger trays, and then we'll be ready. Okay. Okay, so most people, when they're counting their platinum emulsions, do it by drop counts. I really don't feel like counting out 100 drops of each of these emulsions, so we switched to measurement in milliliters. In my experience, 10 of my drops typically are close to about a milliliter. So we're going to go to 10 milliliters or 100 drops worth of chemistry to coat this bad boy. In order to do that, I use these goofy little pipettes. Pipettes. Whatever works for you. When you go big, you go from small bottles to big bottles. But aside from that, everything's the same. We also increase the size of our container. So, one thing I will sometimes do is increase the size of my brush. For a 24 by 30, I'm less worried about that, so I'm just going to stick with it. But there are larger brushes if you have to really step up. Just makes the coat go faster and easier. Okay, let's do it. Every time I think I'm like, oh yeah, that's all I need to do different when I'm going big. It's not the case. So on the little prints, I will pour the emulsion straight onto the center of the paper and brush around. On a larger print like this, I will start in one corner, build myself basically a bounding box, a square, and then I can fill it in. So I'll show you what that looks like. Here we are. Great big amount of paper, big beautiful amount of chemistry. And I always start in this corner that's furthest away from me. And you just skabloosh, skabloosh. You don't want the chemistry to really sit anywhere for very long. You'll notice I am going over the whole print as I go because I want it to dry evenly. This section in this corner was already almost dry. Good enough. Set. So I'm going to put this in here. Hopefully it fits. So this will be my new development tray. That is my new clearing bath. And then when I'm done with this development, I'll rinse it out and it will become my final clearing bath. And in the meantime, all those little baby prints that we've made so far are just going to continue on washing. Okay. Let's do it. I'm happy with that. We're going to put the negative on and then make it happen. Then, final step, wait. Ready? Me too. It's me. Let's see, face up. That looks incredible. Like, not to toot my own horn or anything, but technically, that's a very well executed print.